Rob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Nice to be here.
So you grew up in Southport,
Yeah.
began working in a restaurant, moved to London, was scouted as a model,
Mm-hmm.
and then started your acting career.
Yeah.
So I want to hear a bit more about that. What was the role that really kicked off your career?
Oh, I don't know. When I was modeling, I my agent at the time, he was friends with a casting director at the Royal Opera House in London, and they asked me could I do stunts. I said, yeah, sure. I can't. I couldn't. Um, so I had an audition, which was for David McVicker's production of Rigoletto, and I got the role of naked guy. So there was a lot of sword fighting, but like predominantly, I ran onto the stage completely naked for one very short scene, um, and that was my first time acting, if you like. um, I was being on a stage. There was only 2,000 people in that audience, and a big screen being shown in the
Just the 2000,
in the plaza in Covent Garden. Yeah, I think minus the zooming in and zooming out. That was my first experience of acting, and you know what? Like, I didn't mind it. I quite liked it. You know, regardless of the naked thing.
Good,
But
wow.
it was kind of baptism of fire. Yeah, in at the deep end. So, yeah.
Anyway, that's an interesting story. So, did you have a plan to use modelling as a way to get into acting, or did it just sort of happen like that?
Yeah, I kind of arrogantly or naively thought at the beginning that if I could avoid drama school and use modelling as a platform, then that's what I should do. It's what I did do. So I can't really compare my journey as if I went to drama school or didn't.
Why do you think that was naive if you got to where you are today?
Because I think what drama school gives people is, besides the actual learning and techniques and exploration, blah blah, is there's contacts, and there's the uh, well, the ability, being seen by professionals, by industry, you know. Whereas if you're making your way on your own, I guess, it's a lot harder to find those contacts on your own, you know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. But at the same time, I think in the UK at least, we're seeing a bit of a shift towards not going to drama school and making the acting world more accessible with different sort of training programs and different kind of
Yeah,
workshop funding and stuff. So
but
could you tell us a bit about your experience and how you sort of gained your acting education in a way by not through different methods of not going to drama school?
yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think just do it. Just find people who are of the same mindset, people who are making films, you know, in back rooms or garages or above pubs, theatre, all these things, and just try your best to get involved. Um, yeah, like kind of really grassroots stuff, classes, take classes, find classes. Always find people who know more than you do, or seemingly know more than you do. I think we're all in the same boat. We're all discovering all the time. But the more you do it, the more you find out about yourself, the more you find what works, what doesn't work. Drama schools are great in terms of technique and understanding approaches of breaking down characters, etc. But the thing that's most important is life. You have to live your life. Otherwise, you have nothing to base anything on. It's I think the whole job of an actor is a reflection of life.
I think that's really true.
Yeah.
Do you prefer theatre or film?
Oh, neither. I mean, they're very different mediums. Theatre is the front line. You know, it's a do or die situation. You know you it's a lot more exhilarating.
Yeah.
I think you stand on a stage, you've done all your rehearsals, you've learned all your lines, and then you can mess it up. You know, you're there. You believe in what you're doing, and when you get that right, when you're in that moment, when you're flying, the audience fly with you, and you go on the journey, they come with you, and it's visceral. You know, it's incredible, but you're on that knife edge all the time. You know, of
You can never get too comfortable with
no,
theatre.
and it's adrenaline. You know, but film is an incredible medium, probably the most important medium of modern times. Yeah, I really enjoy being on set. I mean, I feel very comfortable on set. I love the camaraderie of it. I love the collective creativity. I love how everybody has assembled from all corners of the globe for this script, and everybody's believing that what we're doing right now is the best thing we could possibly do. Whether it is or isn't, nobody knows, you know. But everybody has that belief that it is, and yeah, you get extra takes. you get chances to get it right, whereas where you don't in theatre.
But then it's
so much.
permanently there.
But then it's
People to
permanently
watch.
there, yeah. And there's I don't watch myself on things that I'm in. I just tend not to watch them because I find it might be actually stifling to what I do in the future. Like, why do I do that with my hand? What's my eye doing? And it can be a self-torturing process. Luckily with theatre, you don't get the opportunity to go back and over-examine your work. You're just in that moment. I don't have a favourite, but they both have their draws. You know, I love doing both.
Yeah, exactly. And in talking about what you said about you don't watch yourself over because then you'll get obsessed with the little minutiae details. Let's say you're doing a self-tape for something.
Yeah.
Will you watch the self-tapes you've done, or will you sort of just do them and then go with the one you think is right? Or will you sort of examine them and...
No, I watch them. I've managed to teach myself so it's more technical. So I'm looking for light and sound, framing. I've learned with self-tape. I think when self-tapes first became the normal way of auditioning, you know, I think everybody went down the rabbit hole of spending hours and hours and hours trying to really nail this thing and get it so perfect. And also, I mean, I don't think that's what casting directors are really looking for, is finished performances, because nobody knows what the finished performance is. You get like half a page of script or maybe 3 pages or whatever, and you're meant to decipher like the entire character of a movie from this little bit, you know. So I give myself 2 or 3 takes, as I would if I went to the studio and did it with the casting director directly. No more, because you know your preparation is in your preparation. You look at the lines, you make your choices, and then you stick to them, and that's it. You don't go back and do it again. Otherwise, you're on the road to madness.
I think that's a healthier way of doing it.
Yeah.
I think that I spend too long. I guess I don't even know the podcast in the room, but they talk about the idea that with a self-tape, and especially this shift towards constantly self-taping everything now, there's this idea that because you could have done it so many times, it almost like has to be the best it could be.
Yeah.
Which is quite stressful.
I think, as I see other actors and I occasionally cast other people as well, and are they making the right choices? Not necessarily the right choices even. It's just, can we see, what this is? And I think that's what most casting directors are looking at most of the time.
Yeah.
Is this, and like I say, if you're trying to nail a final performance, I think you're on the wrong road, because you're trying to second guess somebody you've never met, i.e. the director, what his vision is for this production, and you just simply don't know. I mean, yeah, you can do your research, you can see how they work, what they've done in the past, who they work with, the same with producers, same with the casting directors, but you're basically deciding their job for them, and that's not the right way to approach it. So you make your choices, you give yourself.
And a lot of the time they'll know what they want,
Exactly,
before
yeah.
split-second decision. Yeah, thanks for telling me a bit more about your experiences there. So let's talk a bit about acting in Barcelona and in London. So you've lived in both cities, and can you tell us a bit about the differences you've experienced in the acting industry in England and in Spain or in Catalonia?
Well, in London, it's London's London. I mean, it's huge. So here is a smaller pond, if you like. In terms of production, there is increasingly more and more being shot here from the States and from the UK. It's cheaper, the weather, the locations, and not just in Spain but in Europe. We have a base in Budapest. My wife is Hungarian. So much stuff is filmed over there, and you've got beautiful cities like Barcelona, Madrid, Budapest, that double up as locations for any other city in the world, basically, and it's way cheaper to film here. So I don't think there's any lesser opportunities happening here, maybe even more, because London is very overpopulated. I spoke to a casting director a while ago, and they were telling me that for every role, say, of my casting type goes up, that they're seeing like 400 applicants, or they get, a crazy amount of applicants, which they have to now reduce down to, say, 20. That's a crazy amount of work. Here it's obviously not so big, so I think it's probably better here. I like it here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about Barcelona that much, but in London, I mean, it's so oversaturated right now, especially after COVID and
but
the strikes.
it always was. It always was. I mean, I have representation over there as well, and so work does come from there. But it helps that I was already here. I am already here pre-Brexit, so I don't need the visas and all of this stuff. So I have that advantage.
That is good.
Yeah.
Developing from that a little bit, how do you think the sort of non-British and American film and theatre industries, but especially film, are sort of moving more into the spotlight? We're seeing a bit of a shift. I think more of a rise in more diverse film from different places rather than just a focus on Hollywood.
Right. Yeah. No, I see. I think a lot of that is pushed by the streamers. I think the intelligent people realize that the world isn't just white middle-aged guys in Hollywood, and it's very diverse. There's areas of multi nationalities and languages just on the same street, and to make stories for those people, about those people, is the way forward, is where we're going. In terms of productions, like I say, it's cheaper to film here than it is in the States and in the UK. it's I don't know whether it's tax incentives or whatever, but um, there's the weather forecast. There's all of these things. There's a multitude of reasons why it's opening up over here more. I think it's a great place to be. Hollywood is what is Hollywood? Is it dying? Is it thriving? It depends what day of the week it is.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
like that. That's a good quote. Yeah, I think it's nice to see. And as you said, through media we have to represent the real diversity that the world has and
Yeah,
make it more accessible and make things interesting and reflect reality.
absolutely. It's even just in terms of accent. We don't have those same kind of stereotypes that we used to have. These tropes, everybody spoke in a certain way, everybody looked a certain way, everybody came from a certain place, and that's where the story is, and but these things are, as in real life, is way more varied than that. And I think that's what people want to see, like acting, storytelling is a reflection of the real world, and if you're only shining a light on one small aspect of that, then you're not representing everybody, and I think people are tired of that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's talk a bit more about your work and your experience as an actor. So you're directing The Motherfucker with a Hat with Blue Book Theatre Company.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you decided to choose that play, and how do you feel about directing it for the first time?
The play is very, very funny, and very touching. Actually, it's very moving. These are the two reasons why I said yes to doing this. In terms of directing, it's my first theatre play I'm directing. I've directed before, but it's really it's proving itself to be a wonderful journey. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot more work than I thought it would be.
In what sense?
Everything is moving. There's moving parts. I'm trying to assemble cast. I have to think about the staging all the time. I have to think what's successful, what's not. I have to think about, this is a very American play. Will people understand it? Will people try and will I be able to tell this story in a coherent way? There's also very basically like learning the lines, and
That's always important.
it helps,
I
right?
actually had it last night, but as an actor, I have a recurring dream that I'm on stage and I've forgotten my lines.
Yes.
And every week I have it, maybe.
Yes.
And it's some new weird play in some random place.
I totally have that. I have that a lot.
Every actor, I think, has experienced
Yeah.
it before. And
But
I
is
don't get
it
myself.
about being an actor, or is it just something we're using to highlight other areas?
I don't know. I honestly think it's more of an. I understand the sort of introspective nature there, but my non-actor friends have never had that dream.
Right.
Anyway, back to you. So yeah, The Motherfucker with the Hat. So are people going to understand? Well, yeah, that's really important. That
Yeah.
it's more of an accessible.
Yeah. It's but I think there's. I mean, ultimately it's a story about love. It's a story about friendship. There's deceit. There's betrayal. There's I wouldn't say there's much redemption. However, the humor is very cutting, and I think it's very, in a way, it's similar to the humor here. There's a lot of back and forth. Um, yeah, so I think actually no, I know it will be a success.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
I think it will be understood. It's the accents there again because it's very New York, very
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen. It's set in Hell's Kitchen, so it's but again, it's multi ethnicities, so it doesn't really matter that the words aren't being pronounced in a general American or even an RP way or whatever. It's about emotion, and I think these plays rely a lot on their emotions. And when we tell stories, that's what we remember the most. We don't remember word for word. We remember the emoting, of the characters and how they feel about each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course, definitely.
yeah.
And there's different energies. And you talk
Yeah.
about it being about love and loss and not redemption.
Not much
In
redemption.
terms
No.
of what you're interested in as an actor and a writer, are there particular narratives or particular emotions that you're drawn to and expressing and talking about, or maybe something that you think is under discussed in theatre and film?
No, not so much. Um, I don't set out any plan to go say something. I don't want to be on a platform, um, you know, banging a drum about any particular topic. I think you're presented with a role or with a play which you choose to do or whatever, and I think from that's where you go from. You find the humanity in this and what's interesting, and then you go from there. I mean, everything we do, politics is in everything. So I mean, it's even in the price of bread and milk, and you know, so it's unavoidable. However, I wouldn't want my work at this stage. I don't think I have anything pressing to say. It's more about just finding the humanity in the roles and the characters that I'm playing in the stories that we're trying to tell.
That's fair enough. And everyone has,
Yeah.
the different things that they're drawn to, and I think you're right. Like finding the humanity in something really important and being able to
But that's what
express it to
everything
other
boils
people.
down to. But if you allow yourself to take in the elements of what it is you're presented with, then it's only love or not love. I don't think that fear is a reaction to things, and then hate, you know.
It's interesting you say that because in many ways I feel that love isn't emotion but a concept. Whereas like yeah. Anyway, we are going down a rabbit hole. And this is all up for debate. What made you maybe moving apart from modelling, for example, and maybe other creative pursuits you have, what about acting is really what you chose to express yourself?
I totally understand what you mean, and I don't understand maybe that in myself. Um, my dad's an artist. I grew up. I've always been drawing and painting and creating things and writing and whatever. Maybe as an artist, I might be a kind of jack of all trades and a master of none. I don't know. But all I know is I have to do something. And it's cathartic, I've got to do it, otherwise I don't feel right. It's like I feel like I haven't brushed my teeth if I haven't done something. So, in terms of why I choose acting, probably because it's hard. It's the hardest. And for some reason, I never in my life have done anything easily. I don't know why. I have this thing, and I do it because it's hard, and because it's hard is extremely interesting, and it's intricate, and it's beautiful, and you find out a lot about yourself. You know.
Do you think it's escapist?
No, I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, it's a very like black and white argument. I mean, some people think one and some people think the other.
I don't think it's that. I think you can explore other people's lives. You can step into their shoes for say 3 to 6 months, and adopt their accents and their hairstyles and their clothes and their family members. But ultimately, once you put on those shoes and those clothes, you are you in those clothes and shoes. You have to. So this answers your question about process as well, I guess. And it's about taking experiences from my own life and adapting them to the story of which I'm trying to tell, the character I'm trying to portray.
Do you pull from a certain practitioner in that way, or is it a bit more
No. And then I've been told that that's method, but that's the way I've always worked before. I said I didn't go to drama school, so I wasn't shown a method way. I wasn't shown Meisner. I wasn't shown any of these things. It's just something I've developed myself without a label. That seemed obvious to me, as obvious as holding a pencil or a paintbrush.
Well, interestingly, like Strasberg, who developed the method, says himself that all actors are using it. They just don't really know yet what they're doing and aren't following.
I guess so, yeah.
I think he's got a point.
I think so. I mean, I think this is a wonderful thing that drama schools do, is technique, where they can teach their students who are ultimately, usually extremely young, and they're given tools in which they can, portray experiences in life they haven't had yet, and that's great. That's great, but nothing is gonna beat actually experiencing those things. And as you get older, as you hopefully get wiser, you bring these experiences to your characters. I can't pretend to be in love if I've never been in love. I can't pretend I've suffered loss if I've never suffered loss. Although I can do maybe a very good impression of it, but I would rather bring myself. I think in terms of technique, well, like anything, any art that you practice frequently, you develop techniques which help you get to where you want to be quicker. Maybe not necessarily better, so not better techniques, but you get your results a lot faster. You learn the roots, to do that. But it's just practice. It's just do it. It goes back to the first thing I was saying of just find people to do it with. Find people who do. Be open to that. This is a never-ending journey. It's never gonna reach its destination. It's always more to find. There's no such thing as a perfect actor or artist, because it's like I say, it's a developing journey, and that is amazing. But I think it's very important to realize that, and just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, and it's really fun.
Helps, right? It helps that it's really fun.
Can you tell us a bit about your experiences working with Enrique Urbizu and the filming of The Wheel of Time?
Enrique Urbizu, well, he's a character, man. He's really cool. I like him. I like him a lot. Very, very dry sense of humor.
That is the best.
Told me to fuck off a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. He works. So this is on Cuando Nadie Nos Ve, When Nobody Sees Us, which is an HBO production. And I think it's HBO Max. It's their first completely commissioned Spanish production, although it's American Spanish.
Right.
So it's based on the book of the same name, and it's about American Air Force cadets in Maron, in the south of Spain, near Sevilla, and a suicide and a murder. And Enrique has made this very kind of beautiful, surreal story based on this book. He's a very organic director and writer, you know, and his way of working is very succinct as well. He gets what he wants. No need to do more. I've got it. It's beautiful. Yasta is his favorite, and when you hear Yasta, oh, it's so nice, you know. So it's but a very happy set as well. Like the everybody was just super comfortable and happy to be there. And I think when you're treated right from production, you know, and it trickles down, everybody's very happy. And it was a really nice experience. Wheel of Time, so that's Amazon Prime, and we shot that in Prague. They have the biggest studios I've ever seen.
Really?
Over there. Like these sound stages are, I mean, immense. I mean, you can people are using motorbikes to get from one end to the other, and I think is where when the Russians occupied Czech Republic, you know, and they brought in artillery and tanks, and they got the tracks running straight through through the sound sets of where they used to bring in the tanks.
Cool environment.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and I think that's like the biggest budget thing I've been on. You know, they kept flying me backwards and forwards from Barcelona. Once just to try on a pair of shoes, which is
No.
yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
That's poor.
Carbon
footprint.
Footprint, literally footprint.
Literally shoe. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but again, a super nice environment. Really happy people. The Wheel of Time gang are you know, headed by Rosamund Pike, and they're a very friendly bunch of guys. You know, very friendly. Everybody who came on set as I did, for our small little roles in comparison, like we were treated as part of the family. So it's nice to be part of the Wheel of Time family, even though I might be second cousin, third times removed. You know, but it was a wonderful experience. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. The last thing I want to ask is if there's any other projects of yours, either in England or Barcelona or anywhere else that you've recently done or are upcoming that you'd like to tell us about?
No, just those two, Wheel of Time and Cuando Nadie Nos Ve. And I'm deeply invested in the stage play at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
There's a film I'm working on with some people, some friends I know. Hopefully, it's still in script stage at the moment, but that's looking very nice as well. A lot of fun. I think with anything, especially acting, if the most important thing for your own sanity is make your own work, because people are not going to come to you. They don't know you exist. Why would they? There's 10 million people out there doing what you're doing. Why do they know about you? So you have to let them know, and more importantly, you just have to do or you enjoy doing, and that's the only way you can learn and get better, move forward, and not go insane. You know. Yeah.
That's what we're all trying to do, not go insane.
I think that's is that the meaning of life? Just
Not go insane.
don't go insane. You know.
I think I failed the meaning of life then.
I think we all have. I mean, why would we choose these jobs? You know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
speaking today.
I enjoyed it.
It was so interesting to hear all about your experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you.